So do you see how the comparison can be in real time then of who is actually the best nigga in the NBA between them two? I'm sorry if you wasn't a fan back then to have listened to this. The world was trying to see who was a better player between those two. They were roughly the same age, competing for the scoring title.
The scoring title! What if I told you the Lakers dynasty almost went in a totally different direction? What if Tracy McGrady wasn't just meant to play next to Kobe Bryant, but instead of him? Today we're exposing Jerry West's quiet plan that could have flipped NBA history upside down forever. Before you think this is just some wild what if, understand this, it was real. The Lakers were dangerously close to pairing Shaq with T-Mac, not Kobe. And by the end of this, those championships won't look the same anymore. Now listen close. This wasn't some rumor cooked up years later. This almost happened in real time.
I was first team All-NBA. Shaq is averaging 38 and 16 in the finals. If I was Shaq's teammate at that time,
I don't know. Penny Hardaway didn't get one.
Penny was a second-year player.
I'm just saying.
Penny Hardaway was older than Shaq.
Why would I mention Tracy McGrady being compared to Kobe? Kobe Bryant averaged 30 points a game in 02-03. Do you want to see what T-Mac? 02-03. 02-03, the leading scorer in the NBA.
Not in 1996 before Kobe arrived, but in 1997, after Kobe was already wearing purple and gold. Former Lakers coach Del Harris admitted Jerry West became locked in on Tracy McGrady after his pre-draft workout in 1997. And when we say locked in, we mean fully committed. The logo was ready to tear the roster apart to get him. This wasn't guesswork. This wasn't fan fiction. This was documented NBA history that somehow got buried under championship banners. Let's rewind.
Who is actually the best nigga in the NBA between them two? I'm sorry if you wasn't a fan back then to have listened to this. The world was trying to see who was a better player between those two. They were roughly the same age, competing for the scoring title.
To watch him work out, it was like ridiculous, okay? I mean, he's like a man playing against kindergarten people. That's how advanced he was. He was versatile, but he was a ferocious defender.
July 1996, the Adidas ABCD camp. Tracy McGrady walks in wearing jersey number 175. 175. Dead last invite. Nobody knew who this skinny kid from Florida was. He wasn't hyped, wasn't ranked, wasn't even on top recruiting lists. And that's exactly where the story starts exploding. Here's where it really gets crazy. Adidas had both future superstars inside their camp system. Kobe was already turning heads, but T-Mac, he went from jersey number 175 to the number 1 player in the country in one summer. That's not hype, that's a takeover. By the end of that camp, we're talking about a 6'8" guard crossing up Lamar Odom and throwing windmill dunks on future NBA players like it was light work. 1 minute he was invisible, next minute everyone was scrambling to catch up.
There's a lot of moving parts that has to come into play to winning championships. With my game and how I played, you don't think if I had the right pieces around me, I couldn't win a championship? Bro, I was one of the top players in the league. I just didn't have the pieces around me.
Sonny Vaccaro, the godfather of basketball camps, handed T-Mac that stage, and the kid blew it up completely. NBA scouts were calling their GMs at halftime saying, we found the next one. No waiting, no doubt, pure panic. Fast forward to 1997, Tracy McGrady enters the draft. And guess who's right there watching closely? Jerry West and the Lakers. Yeah, even though Kobe was already on the roster, according to Del Harris himself. And this is a direct quote, McGrady's workout was even more impressive than Kobe's legendary session that made West trade for him. Let that sink in.
Tracy McGrady, according to Jerry West, came in with a more mature body and had probably even an even better workout with Michael Cooper the following season when he was supposed to get drafted. And Jerry West was so impressed that his plan was to bring Tracy McGrady onto the Lakers. So Jerry West wanted to trade Eddie Jones for Tracy McGrady, but Jerry Buss pulled the plug on the deal. And the reason he did that was because he thought the Lakers would not be in the title mix if they had traded for a young Tracy McGrady. They felt that now Kobe and McGrady, it probably would have took them more time to try to develop, and they would have not been in contention for championships for years to come.
Jerry West saw teenage Kobe cook Michael Cooper and said, yeah, he's special. Then he saw T-Mac a year later and thought, wait, we might need both. The logo wanted a big three before big threes even existed. Shaq, Kobe, and T-Mac. But here's where everything flipped. Lakers owner Jerry Buss shut it down. He didn't want to give up Eddie Jones, an all-star, for another teenager. Buss wanted a title now and thought stacking high school kids would slow things down. Imagine being the guy who said no to Tracy McGrady. Now pause. Before we crown T-Mac the Lost Lakers legend, we gotta address the Mamba in the room. Let's talk about who Kobe Bryant really was at 18. Even LeBron James admitted he was fooled by Kobe's basketball genius for years.
I saw a clip, you said something like, Kobe tricked you for like 5 years straight, like with.
Oh yeah, with the whole yeah. I thought that was like, you know, because I one thing about me, people know when they play me, like I read, I know all the plays, I read the scouting reports, I do a deep dive in it. So like for forever, I thought it was just like a call that he was calling that Phil Jackson was like, you know, feel like Kobe, you know, how he used to do with Mike, triangle offense. Man, I realized that shit was give me the ball and everybody get the fuck out the way.
There's 3 people in my lifetime that I admired how hard they worked. Jerry Rice, Walter Payton, Kobe Bryant. He never worked out just once a day. He would get up at 4 in the morning.
I thought Kobe was calling real plays, LeBron said. Bro was just saying, get out the way, bro. Now be honest, did 18-year-old T-Mac have that same swagger? That same give me your best defender and I'll still cook him mindset? That's the real question. Let's not forget what Michael Cooper said right after Kobe's workout. This kid is better than anyone on our roster right now. And that wasn't hype. Cooper was a defensive specialist, a finals stopper, the guy who bothered Larry Bird, and teenage Kobe made him look lost out there. That's not revisionist talk. That actually happened. No edits, no exaggeration, just straight truth. Now fast forward to today. Gilbert Arenas has been going hard defending Tracy McGrady's comments about winning with Shaq.
How can ring culture matter? And I said, Kobe would agree with LeBron because Kobe was affected by the ring culture bullshit that was spewed. He had 3 rings and he was being compared still to Scottie Pippen, and he was being compared to who is better between him and Tracy McGrady.
Now he scared me. Kobe scared the living shit out of me, because here's why. Kobe was a savant. You did not know more basketball than Kobe Bryant.
And Gil isn't guessing. He's been in those locker rooms. He played against both of them in their primes. Gilbert dropped 40 on T-Mac the same night Tracy scored 62. And you know what Arenas said after? T-Mac should have had 80 or 90 if he didn't lose his rhythm. That's not hate, that's respect. And here's the part people twist. As Arenas keeps saying, this was never about disrespecting Kobe. This was about ring culture. T-Mac and Kobe were close, like brothers, close. This debate is really about how careers get judged based on team success. As Gil said, we was talking about rings, ring culture, and how it shouldn't define your career. And he's right. Think about this. In 2002, Kobe already had 3 rings, and people were still debating Kobe versus T-Mac. If rings were everything, that conversation would have ended instantly. But T-Mac was averaging 32 in Orlando and forcing himself into the debate with 0 rings. Now let's really flip the script. What if Jerry Buss had said yes to the T-Mac trade in 1997? 2 paths open up here. Scenario 1, the Lakers keep Kobe and T-Mac with Shaq, 3 alpha scorers, 1 locker room. Then Phil Jackson walks in by 1999 and now has to manage 3 egos instead of 2. That's where things get real interesting. So here's the real dilemma. Does the triangle offense even survive with 3 ball-dominant stars? Or does it blow up like every other super team stacked with too much talent? That's the first fork in the road. Scenario 2 gets even crazier. The Lakers choose T-Mac over Kobe and move the young Mamba out. Maybe Kobe ends up in Toronto, linking with Vince Carter, while LA rolls with a Shaq and T-Mac duo instead. On paper, it sounds smooth. T-Mac's personality was more laid back, less confrontational. Maybe him and Shaq never clashed the way Shaq and Kobe eventually did. No Cold Wars, no power struggles, no locker room tension. But here's the real question. Does T-Mac develop that same killer instinct playing next to Shaq from day one? Or does he coast on talent like critics always whispered? That part matters. Because Kobe wasn't just great, he was obsessed. That psychotic work ethic was different. Kobe was in the gym at 4 a.m. and Shaq himself admitted that. T-Mac had more natural gifts, but Kobe had more dog in him. And T-Mac even admitted the moment he knew Kobe had arrived. Game 4 of the 2000 finals. Shaq fouls out in overtime. A 21-year-old Kobe takes over. That wasn't a sidekick anymore. That was a closer who wanted your heart. That's the gap between talent and mentality. T-Mac had unreal skill. 13 points in 33 seconds proved that. But did he have that? The thing that lets you play through torn ligaments, broken fingers, and still drop 60? Here's what the record confirms. Dale Harris said Jerry West wanted T-Mac's draft rights in 1997. That meant giving up Eddie Jones and more assets to jump into the top 10. T-Mac went 9th to Toronto. And just like that, history locked in. For the Lakers to land him, the price was heavy. They would have had to deal with one of the top teams, and the ask was serious. Eddie Jones, an all-star, a first-round pick, and possibly Eldon Campbell. That's a massive gamble for an 18-year-old who hadn't played a single NBA minute. But Jerry West was fully locked in. The man who built Showtime, who spotted Kobe early, who brought Shaq to LA. He was ready to bet everything on Tracy McGrady. That alone tells you how special T-Mac looked as a prospect. You can debate hypotheticals all day, but here's the raw reality. Kobe Bryant, 5 championships, 2 finals MVPs, 1 league MVP, an 81-point game, 18-time All-Star. Tracy McGrady, 0 championships, 0 finals trips, 2 scoring titles, 7-time All-Star. Looks lopsided. Until you add context, T-Mac never had Shaq. When he had Grant Hill, the ankles were gone. When he had Yao Ming, the feet gave out. He never played next to a healthy Hall of Fame big man in his prime. From 2001 to 2005, T-Mac averaged 28 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists on teams that had no business sniffing the playoffs. He was dragging lineups nobody feared into relevance. Scoring titles, 62-point nights, making the playoffs with starters like Pat Garrity and Andrew DeClercq. That wasn't normal. Stephen A. Smith said it best. Tracy McGrady was probably more gifted, but Kobe Bryant was a savage competitor. Kobe even admitted that kind of mindset shook people because he was different. Kobe was a basketball savant. You weren't out-thinking him, out-working him, or out-wanting him. And that's the real debate right there. Pure talent versus pure will. Could T-Mac have won rings with Shaq? Absolutely. A 6'8" playmaking scorer next to prime Shaq. That formula screams championships. That's not even the real question anymore. The real question is, would it have felt the same? Would we have gotten the chaos, the tension, the drama that made those Lakers legendary? Probably not. T-Mac was too smooth, too calm, too easygoing. The Lakers didn't just need talent, they needed friction. They needed Shaq's dominance crashing into Kobe's ambition every single night. That tension wasn't an accident. It was the engine. Shaq wanted comfort, Kobe wanted war. And that clash turned a great team into a historic one. Jerry West may have wanted T-Mac first, or even alongside Kobe. But basketball fate gave the Lakers what they actually needed. Not just skill, but obsession. A competitor who refused to lose, who turned potential into banners through pure willpower. So think about it. Should Jerry Buss have pulled the trigger on the T-Mac deal? Would 3 alpha scorers have worked in 1997? Say it straight in the comments. Do you believe T-Mac and Shaq win more than 5 rings together? And yeah, subscribe if this flipped how you see that era. Because in some alternate universe, T-Mac has 5 rings. Kobe's in Toronto with Vince Carter, and we're arguing completely different GOATs. But in this universe, Mamba mentality won the war. And still, imagine what could have been.